Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on October 22nd, 2021 at approximately 1:02 p.m. PST. Well, as I said, the world is improving, which is nice to see. I haven't seen this kind of change in a very long time, and quite frankly, I don't know if it's directly connected or if it's just a timing thing. But about 3 months ago, um, well, no, in all fairness, March 6th of 2021, I started recording the journey. But about 3 months ago, I noticed a change on the social media where people are now, it seems, paying more attention to who is helping who is trying to make other people feel a little better, and who is doing what to benefit either themselves in a positive fashion or a positive interactive fashion or other people in general. Net result, it does indicate that people are starting to pay attention. Now, I know I am not reaching anywhere near the people that are required, because the reason I returned this lifetime was literally to pass on one message, and that is that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. But it all starts with you. Okay, it's not just about, like, yes, I'm doing what I can to change my world. Okay, which is why you notice the changes happening over here. And as you can see, I found over on the side, on the third shelf there, I've started putting my little projects together, my writing projects. Again, it boils down to taking my office area and working it out so the energy is running more smoothly. Now, I bill myself as a spiritual guide, and the reason I do that is because the tools I personally use, the philosophies I personally live by, are the ones that I show people. Okay, they are the ones that I introduce people to because I know from a first-hand experience that they work. Okay, the important factor at this point is people are starting to communicate a little better. And I gotta thank you guys for that. Okay, there is no way, well, I shouldn't say there's no way. But right now, like a lot of the vlog producers, the people that are putting out their own vlogs, the majority of the real big followings are with either religion or gaming. Kind of intriguing when you think about it. Let's take a look at that for just half a second. Religion says, in many, 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 many cases, religion says, fear creation. Love your God, but fear the daylights out of him. Personally, I'm a firm believer in God, absolutely. But here's the thing, I don't fear him. Okay. Then when you look at online gaming, okay, I find it fascinating that so many people, and it's not, I presume there's a correlation. Or not a correlation, but maybe it is a correlation. But I presume if you were to actually look at the number of people watching any given movie, you're probably looking at hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people at the same time. Okay. And to me, when I watch somebody play some of these YouTubers that are playing games online and just streaming it, I find it fascinating that so many people find that interesting and they'll sit there and watch it. But it's an issue of, it's a distraction. Now, I have yet to find a real solid way to distract myself. And that's probably why things got a little screwy for me. But the similarity is this. People go to different types of videos, different types of people that are talking for different reasons. Now, overall, when we're looking at religion, we're looking at a situation that people are going, I will believe in this force faster than I will believe in me, even though in many religions you're told that God is in everyone. Okay, which means you have the power to create the life you desire. The trick is most people don't know how. Okay, so let's get down to the basics. We've been there before, but for those of you that are just joining me, Couple of major things before I really get into it. One is that this is a live recording, meaning when I'm done, I simply check, make sure I got the date right, and then I post it as is, with all the hiccups, all the quirks, the whole 9 yards. Okay, so if you like the video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and remember to hit the alert button beside the subscription key, because that'll let you know when the newest videos come out. Now, here's the thing. Okay, what we're doing is we're taking a look at a very small point. Now, if you look at the superstructure of an atom and the macrostructure of I think it's called the suprastructure of the universe, you'll find extremely close similarities. Now, if you're not scientifically inclined, that's okay. If you are, absolutely check the information. Don't just take my word for it. Okay, now I'm not telling you who you should go and sit down and listen to. Okay, I will tell you wholeheartedly, if you're listening to a spiritual guide that is not following their own teachings, you may be following the wrong person. Okay, now I do feel wholeheartedly, now in religious circles they call it tithing. In non-religious circles they call it helping. Okay, and here's the thing. Where it comes to charity, I firmly believe that it's a good thing. How that said, will I turn around and will I personally donate to a registered charity? The answer is frankly no. And the reason for that is this. There is so much overhead in the registered charities, okay, in the way of administration fees and what have you. Only a small percentage, from what I gather from the ones I've talked to, only a small percentage of that donation actually goes to the charity. Okay, so what I do is I can only reach a couple of people at a time in this fashion. But what I do is I turn around and I'll go to the different people. I'll just go into a grocery store and I'll be in line and there's somebody in line. I've got a little extra money, so it's like I'm just picking up that tab. Okay, it's just that simple. Okay. That way, whatever I am donating to somebody, whatever I am doing in the way of charity, the entire amount goes to the person that I've determined requires it. Now, yes, it's a personal choice on my part. Okay, I don't go through some government agency to figure out who needs it more. Because I'll tell you right now, the people that need it more are the ones most of the time that aren't asking for it. Okay, more often than not, the ones that really require it are what I think a lot of people call the working poor. Which brings us back to that issue of working together. We can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, I'm getting the energy in my office worked out, so it runs a lot smoother. And I will tell you, I am so much happier looking at those couple of shelves there that are now essentially empty. Okay, and I will be working on, if I turn out of the way, I don't know if I can. No. There's a set of shelves behind me that's got to be cleared, but you'll notice up here, there's another set up here I got to get rid of. Not the shelves, but the stuff that's just up there. And as you can see on top of my filing cabinet, that piece of that basket that was there is now gone. Okay, which was entirely what I was aiming at. Okay, by focusing on your own world, just like the other atoms, if you take a look, and I've mentioned this before, if you take a look at a basic hydrogen atom, okay, well, let's do it the other way. We'll take a basic helium atom. 2 electrons around 1 nucleus. Okay. Now, it is normal in the atomic world for the electrons to leave and move on to a different one. Then they'll reconnect to another atom. Okay. But if you take one atom from a helium atom, 1 electron from a helium atom, and connect it to another helium atom, okay, what you all of a sudden have is the one helium atom that you just took the electron off of becomes a hydrogen atom, and the one that the electron just jumped onto becomes a lithium atom. Now, that's basic science, and that's pretty much where my science ended, because I got thrown out of it in grade 8 because of complications. The important factor is this. If you run into somebody that is feeling, a little under the weather, okay, they're having a little bit of trouble, okay, or even if they don't appear to be, but you turn around and you go and you help that one person. Because of the fact they are now feeling a little better or a little bit more supported, the odds are very good they will turn around and they will help somebody down the road. Now, there was a movie out a number of years ago called Pay It Forward. Okay, what happens is you help the one person, and that help may be nothing more than a smile. Maybe nothing more than it. Okay, so you smile at somebody, they feel a little better, you say a nice word, they feel a little better yet. And they turn around and they will pass that good feeling on. See, most people talk about the ripple effect in a negative fashion. One bad thing happens and things start to fall apart. Well, the exact opposite is correct as well. When one good thing happens, that has a ripple effect as well, where things start to get better along the way. One good thing causes another good thing, etc., etc. Next thing you know, we've got society running a lot more smoothly. Okay, now it's very important that people realize that it doesn't matter what you call your higher power, what you call the spiritual world that you focus on to draw a little extra strength. What matters is that by reaching out to this spiritual world, by reaching out to whatever God, whatever covenant leader, whatever angel, doesn't matter. By reaching out to the people around you, you're making that massive step of saying, I'm not invincible. I still require a little help. Okay. So with that in mind, okay, the purpose of these videos, or more to the point, the goal of these videos, is to pass on this neat little message. 3 laws to follow. Be true to yourself. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. And energy out, energy in. Okay, those 3 karmic laws are the backbone of how to go about making this world a better place. Now, understanding that you cannot alter the past that you've already lived through. It's a wonderful thought. Scientists are talking about going back in time to correct things. Doesn't work that way. Okay, but what does work is you can take a look at the decisions you made in the past, compare them to where you are right now, to get an idea of how those decisions worked out. It'll also give you a baseline understanding of the type of decisions you were making and their outcomes, so the decisions you can make today are made with an educated guess in mind for what will happen tomorrow. Now, prime example of this, I decided I was going to actively try to get my house sorted out. Okay, get the office energy running smoothly. And I'll tell you, I feel so much better having done so. Do I still read the Bible? Certainly. I'm reading the Bible right now. I'm also reading the tail end of a encyclopedia called I Want to Know. Okay, I talked to one person a while ago about how to improve my reading speed specifically. And as they put it, the more you physically read, the faster you'll get. And I haven't tested my reading speed yet. And I'm not about to worry about it for the moment. But what I have noticed is it has given me a little bit more focus. And the important thing there is the more focused I am and the more focused you are, the easier it's going to be to attain the goals that you have. Very important from that standpoint. because you're the only entity in existence that can make your life better for you. You're the only one that can be successful for you. Okay. And the only time you can do that is right here, right now. Now, by the end of today, I think that's the next step I'm going to take. Where is that? That's way up. Whoa. Gotta take a look at that. That's, yep. Just trying to get my bearings on just how much I've got to remove, because I want to get that shelf cleared. Okay, and get it out of the way, but I got to figure out where things are going to be put properly. Again, when you're redirecting the energy, it's easier to identify what you're not content with or what isn't working right than it is to identify what's working wrong. No, that was wrong. It's easier to identify what's not working right or what is wrong than it is to figure out what exactly is working to its optimum. So the trick is, take a look at where your life is. Take a look at the energy in your house and ask yourself, am I completely relaxed? Am I happy with the way this is? If the answer is no, pick one thing that you're not content with, just one, and make an alteration to it. Okay, doesn't even matter what you change it to. What matters is the fact that you changed it, because if you change it to something you're still not content with, you can change that as well. Okay. I mean, it is kind of neat. Now, this is sort of one of those, this is just something that I happen to have. Yes, it's exactly what it looks like. It's called a wand. Neat thing about wands, okay, is because energy runs both directions, and I'm talking biomagnetic energy, your life force runs both directions at the same time. Okay, some of you can see energy. And if you take a look at both ends, okay, and just focus for half a minute, I would love to hear your comments down below this video on just exactly what you saw. Okay, or if you saw anything. Some people see it, some people don't. Now, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not expecting a whole lot of comments. Okay, but then I'm doing this because of a couple of factors. The first one is because it helps me stay focused. The second one is because whether you, like, I'm not here to prove anything, and that's the real critical factor. Okay, I was asked one day why people should believe what I tell them, and I told the person, well, we won't go into that, but here's the reality behind it. Whether you're watching me trying to see whether it's real or whether it's not, if you're looking to prove that I'm real, you'll likely succeed. If you're looking to prove that I'm not, if you're looking to prove that I'm just a fraud, there are all kinds of ways that you can prove that to yourself. Okay. But the question is not so much, am I being honest with you or am I lying to you? Am I just making it up? The question is not whether or not I am. The question is, and it's got nothing to do with what I believe I am. I build myself as a spiritual guide because the world today is going, in my opinion, from my memories, it's going down the same road it went down back 2,000 years ago, about 1,700 years ago, and then again about 800 years ago, as in, the year zero. All sorts of neat little things happen. Most of them are misremembered or misquoted or just flat out changed. Right. About 1,700 years ago, maybe 1,800 years, we had the fall of the Roman Empire. Okay, and then in 1347, we had the Black Plague, the Black Death, bubonic plague. Okay, we got through all of these together. Okay, and we landed on our feet. But does it have to be that traumatic? In your opinion, do you feel that we have to go to war with each other, that we have to fight with each other? Okay. If you believe we have to, you're walking into a war zone quite deliberately and with your eyes wide open. Because don't forget, karmic law is pretty black and white. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. If you desire a fight, go out and pick one. You'll probably get one. Unless you meet somebody like me that looks at it and goes, I'm just not that interested. Okay. But the thing is, working together, you start with your own world. Start with your own body, your own living quarters, primary areas first. Then you start working with your neighbors, with the community. And don't forget the issue if you've got kids. Make certain you guys are taking time to really sit around the table and talk to each other. If it's been years, if it's been months or years, doesn't matter. And the time is now to change the way that our world is working. Okay. Can this world be turned into a virtual paradise? The answer is yes. Now, people keep talking about, we're having food shortages. There's not enough land for people. Rest assured, there's lots of land out there. And food shortages, when you take a look at the amount of waste that is being thrown out, stop throwing out that amount of waste, start feeding the poor with it, which is what the churches claim they're doing. And if they're doing that, I saw a post years ago on Facebook. So the numbers are likely off at this point. But the way the post went, and I'm paraphrasing, was since there are roughly 260,000 people, 260,000 churches or churches and temples, on the continent, and probably more. Okay, why are there over 300,000 people living on the streets spread out over the same area? If the churches and the temples are actually taking care of the homeless, are actually taking care of the sick, then why are so many of them on the streets? This is something to ask your spiritual leaders, to ask your spiritual guides. Very, very, very important at this point, because we have reached a critical point in our evolution. Okay, society has evolved to the point where it has to make a shift. It's going to either have to work together, or it's going to tear itself apart. Take a look at what happened back in Rome. Now, granted, history is written by the victors. Okay, in my case, I just happen to remember the time. Of course, I remember a lot of past lives that were a little problematic. Not the least of which was the fall of Pompeii, the end of the Minoan civilization, World War One. I remember the War of Independence. And yeah, I was down in the States at the time. I remember the end of slavery. Now, you gotta understand, I'm remembering these things, but the reality of it is this. I'm only 58 years old, so many of these memories are past lives. Okay, but to give you an idea very briefly how that works, if you've got a vehicle and your vehicle dies, you wander around for a bit until you find a new vehicle, then you get out and get driving again. Same thing applies with your life. When your body physically dies, it takes you a little while, and you pick out a new body and start the process all over again. Very, very necessary at this point. Okay, because it really is time for the peoples of this world to wake up and go, it's time for a positive change. It's time for us to work together. If you desire the crime rate to drop in your area, get to know the people around you. Okay, because people are, quite frankly, it doesn't stack the deck in any way in your favor. But if you know the people and get along with the people around you, the odds are they're going to treat you a little better than if you're just miserable to them. And if you don't believe that, okay, take a look at the number of people that give a waitress a really bad time, right? And they'll get service, but they don't get that extra something. Okay, and then you take a look at the people that go in and treat the waitresses really good. Normally, they get better service. And guaranteed, if you're dealing with being the waiter or the waitress yourself, if you treat your customers really well, no matter how busy you are, you'll find you get better tips. If you treat them poorly, you'll find you don't get any. Okay, and don't get me wrong. I am an absolute believer that tips should not be a way to balance out wages. But working together, if you own a business and you're treating your staff properly, you're paying them enough they can actually live on. Okay, you're treating them with respect. Then what you'll find happen is your staff will, in all likelihood, stick around for the most part. Now, what's happening here is I'm getting the energy in my apartment, in my office, worked out properly. And I encourage you to do the same thing for yours. Okay, because by doing that, you'll start to be able to affect the world around you a whole lot more effectively. Okay, that's just the way life goes. But it's up to you to make that happen because you're the only one in existence that can be successful for you. And I do feel, because I've got this running properly, and you'll just see it over the next couple of days, where the junk that you're seeing is gone within the next couple of days. And that's just because of the fact that, well, frankly, I don't want it here anymore. Okay, but take a look at where your life is sitting right this moment. Because the reality is you're in exactly the same boat as everybody else. No matter their affiliations, no matter their income, you're in the same boat. You're right here, right now. And this is the only time in existence that you are going to be able to change anything. Okay. It's also the only way that you're going to figure out what path you desire to be on. Pick the direction you're thinking of, and don't look for where you're heading. Look for where you are. Okay. Starting right where you're sitting right now. Pick a couple of things you're not content with. Okay. Like I've always advocated, as you well know, I've always advocated this list thing. Okay. But by picking what you're not content with and altering that thing, it doesn't matter what you alter it to, because the reality is, if you change it and you're not content with it after the change, you can always change it again. The primary consistency in the known universe is quite literally change. So things don't stay static all the time. You can, however, capitalize on it. You can make the most of the situation. So what I'm asking is for us to work together, and quite frankly, I'm more than willing to accept the title that was given to it. Let's start a cult. Okay. But the backbone of the cult is be nice to the people around you. That's the backbone you're looking for. Okay, and while we're at it, let's get another pandemic going and start smiling at people. Okay. And that's not smiling at them while you're hanging onto a gun. Put the guns and knives down. Okay. Violence is only functionally useful in books, in movies, in mutually agreed upon combat scenarios. Okay, and by the way, mutually agreed upon does not mean gang wars are a good idea, because gang wars take everybody into put everybody in danger. Now, as I keep these down to the half-hour mark, I'm going to bring this to a close. I will be back again tomorrow. But until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.